Hello friends, I'm Rosa. Welcome to the channel. So today we are talking about books that are popular on TikTok. So I've seen like a million different, million may be a little bit exaggerated, but I've seen a lot of booktubers make videos like this where they're talking about book talk books. I've not done one myself, so I thought it was about time that I jump on board with this whole let's talk about book talk books. TikTok books? I don't feel like book talk books sound so stupid. I like the whole like book talk, booktube, like I like that, but it's the fact that I'm saying book talk books doesn't sound good to my ears. I don't know what it is. But anyway, so I had found 10 books that I thought I owned as physical copies. It turns out that one of them I don't, but at least the remaining 9 I do own as physical copies. I don't know, I thought it would be funnier if I said with like the actual book in my hand. I don't, that's not, it's fine. But as it turns out, I've actually read quite a lot of books that seemingly are quite popular on TikTok, so if you want to see more videos like this, definitely let me know. As for the 10 books that we're talking about today, I have made sure to link them in the description box if you want to check them out further, but let's get into it at least. So first off, we're talking about, oh gosh, when I did the wrap up where I included this book, I made it super awkward because I don't really know how to talk about it, but Neon Gods by Katie Robert. I thought this was fun. Like, I am on board with this. Is it amazing? Is it an amazing book? No, I thought it was a fun time, but it's not like amazing. What's another? Magnificent? Fantastic. You know, it's a good time. This is a Greek mythology retelling of Hades and Persephone, and we follow Persephone, who is basically being promised off to Zeus, and she does not want to marry Zeus because Zeus in this world has a tendency to kill off his Heras, his wives. So she runs off to the underworld where she bumps into Hades, who is supposed to not really actually be alive. Like he's supposed to be a secret. But she bumps into him and they decide to basically, like, he's very protective. He hates Zeus with a passion. And so he takes her back to where he lives in the underworld. When I say the underworld, by the way, this is more of like a modern city, so don't think like literally the underworld. I just mean like the southern part of the city. Like that. There's a map, I think. Yeah, here. You see, like, the underworld is over here. So it's not like, don't think like in dungeons and stuff. There are no dungeons in this, or are there? Well, you could argue. But he takes her back to where he lives, and the two of them come to an agreement because Persephone does not want to go back. And so they know Zeus is very much like a misogynist. That's sexist. Let's put it like it is. He wants his women to be clean and, you know, have their virtue intact, all that stuff. Persephone has never claimed to actually have her virtue intact, but it's fine because the whole, like, the population in this world, I think Persephone is like this good girl, whatever, that she's like, you know what I mean, right? Okay, good. And to basically besubtle her image, they come to an agreement that they will publicly break her virtue. I don't know. I feel like the words that I'm choosing may sound offensive, but I'm just choosing them for fun. I don't believe in that stuff, like the whole Zeus, what Zeus believes in, so like to me it's just like he's dumb. But just let women do what they want to do, you know? But yeah, they come to an agreement about basically ruining her public image of being the good girl in public. Yes. I hope you catch my drift, by the way, but I'm trying to make it not too obvious to avoid YouTube getting on my, yeah. Is it plot-wise amazing? No. But there's a lot of smut in it. Like, a lot. I think that might have been one of the reasons that, like, the smut is okay. It's not... It's very in your face. It's very obvious. It's also very much... Like, we're not beating around the bush, you know? It's very unpacked, unfiltered smut. So if you're not used to that, it might take you a little bit by surprise. I'm not sure that this is erotica. If it actually should be put in that category, I'm not really sure. If it is, then I guess I've read my first erotica book. I don't know. But I thought it was fun, and I thought it was a good time, but not like plot-wise. It's definitely not amazing. So characters are fun though. There's not a whole lot of, you know, substance to them either, but it's just, it works. You know? Yeah, it just works. Not an amazing book, but just a good time. The one that I don't own as a physical copy, let's just... Oh, she just slapped me. Ow. Really? Did you take offense? But I do like you, Neon Gods. Please don't hurt me again. I'm gonna put her like this because she keeps falling down and it's hurting my back. So anyway, the book that I don't have as a physical copy is We Were Liars by Lockhart. E. Lockhart. See, I suck at initials. I just don't. R.F. Kwong, I can remember, but that's an exception. I'm really bad with initials. So, E. Lockhart. It's a young adult contemporary, and we have to do with like rich white people on an island that the family owns. It's got to do with like this rich family and, you know, yes. So I read this last year around June, I want to say, so it's been a while, but we follow a girl who has been away from this island for some time. The family usually goes to the island every summer to celebrate together, just hang out together, go on vacation together, but something has happened and our girl has not been back for a while. She decides to go back 1 year though, and things have changed a little bit since the last time that she was there. The family is acting weird around her, but also when she brings up certain subjects, they react in an odd way. Like, it feels like something is not adding up to her. But she has her fellow, I wasn't classmates, but they're family members. I don't remember the exact relations. I think they might be her cousins and they're like siblings, and then there's a fourth person who's not related to them. But is he adopted? It's like not blood related, but is he adopted or is he a foster kid? Can't remember the exact relation there. I apologize. Like I said, it's been a year and a couple of months. But she has those friends. She's really close with all of them, although closeness has faded a little bit over the times she hasn't been back on the island. So she's repairing friendships with them and just spending her summer there. But like I said, things are kind of off. Something's not adding up. It's a little bit weird. Things are strange. So yeah, I think that's all I can say, to be honest. I literally read the synopsis on Goodreads before talking about it, and it says it gives away nothing. A beautiful and distinguished family, a private island, a brilliant, damaged girl, a passionate political boy, a group of 4 friends, the liars, that's what they call themselves, whose friendship turns destructive, a revolution, an accident, a secret, lies upon lies, true love, the truth. It doesn't really say much. So as for this book though, I didn't enjoy it. I think I have found out since last year that young adult contemporary is just not really my thing. It wasn't this book that taught me that. I think it was a contemporary romance, actually. I just can't remember which one. But I think I've just kind of grown past the point where the characters in young adult contemporary are relatable to me. Also, we're talking about a family that has a private island, so they're definitely not relatable to me. And then on top of that, this book is also written in a way that I didn't really enjoy because some of it is written in verse, so it's split up almost like poetry, but it just seems kind of pointless. It doesn't add to the story. It's more like done like this to add something extra to it, but like I said, it feels kind of pointless. Like, it doesn't make it beautiful, you just took a sentence and split it up for whatever reason. I'm sure there are some people on the planet who can figure out a reason for it. I just personally can't. You can breeze through it though, so it's a very short book. I don't think it's more than 250 pages, and also with it being written in verse, there's not a lot of text on every page, or at least parts of it being written in verse. There's not a lot of text on every page. So if you're curious about it, you can still read it very, very quickly. But it's not just the way that it was written that was causing me issues. I also am, without spoiling anything, and I promise I will not be spoiling anything, there's a certain point to the ending, a trope that I just hate. I don't like it. I don't like it in movies, I don't like it in series, and I don't like it in my books. I feel like it's a cop-out. I feel like it's just a cheap solution. It's like, I don't know. I don't like it. I felt like as well that the ending was sort of unresolved in some weird way. Like it didn't really fully give me the satisfaction that an ending should give me, you know? So that one was not enjoyable. I am not sure exactly why this has made why it's resurfaced, because it's actually an older book. I think it's from 2014 or 2013. So I'm not sure why it's recently resurfaced on TikTok and become this like huge phenomenon. Or I wouldn't, maybe not a huge phenomenon, but it's very popular. It's gotten a lot of attention over the past 2 years or so. I don't know, I find it kind of fascinating. Like, things just pick up on social media and suddenly they blow up and everything, but I'm not sure why this one exactly. Like, I can't put my finger on it. I don't know why. So yeah, that was We Were Liars. Next up, we're talking about The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which is a romance, but it's both contemporary and also historical fiction. Although I would probably mainly say historical fiction, because we are dealing with a lot of flashbacks. We're following a journalist who works for a magazine that wants to do a story on Evelyn Hugo. Evelyn Hugo is an old Hollywood star, but she's been a bit of a recluse over the past many years. However, has recently decided to donate some dresses for an auction where the proceeds will go to breast cancer research. And so they want to do a story on her, but it's impossible to get an interview with Evelyn Hugo. So they're trying, but it's not really working out. She doesn't want to talk to anyone. However, one day the magazine gets a message from Ms. Evelyn Hugo, which says that she'll do an interview with them, but only if they send Monica Grant. And Monica is so confused because why does Evelyn Hugo want to talk to her? She's got no relation to her. She's never met the woman. She doesn't fully understand what's going on, but she's also a career woman and a bit of a go-getter. And so she decides to take Evelyn Hugo up on the offer, or she decides to accept, and ends up going to her apartment on the Upper East Side of New York. And when she gets there, Evelyn is like, you know, we're not writing an article actually. You are going to be writing my biography. And once it's done, I will also let you sell it. So, congratulations, you're gonna be a millionaire. Monica is still confused. She doesn't get it. But Evelyn is like, trust me, when I'm done telling my story, you're gonna hate me, because lo and behold, their stories might actually be intertwined in a way. And that's all I'm gonna say. So I read this recently. I read this last month, or for my 48-hour readathon, which actually went up on the channel very recently. It was recorded last month though. I'm just a little bit behind with my editing, but anyway. And I absolutely loved this book. I think it was beautiful. I think it was well built up. As we progress through the story, each time period is basically named after a husband, because she has been married 7 times. You get some article inserts as well throughout the years where people are talking about her, but also her friends and her husbands and other artists or other actresses in the same like business sphere as her, entertainment business, or from the entertainment business. So you get some insight into a lot of different things, but like everything makes sense. It's not just there for filler. Everything just is very beautifully woven together. And as you follow Evelyn Hugo, so something like this, a story like this, it's very important that you actually, I wouldn't say you necessarily full on like Evelyn Hugo, because she definitely has her flaws, but she's also aware of her flaws. I personally think that as a character, I have respect for her. I think she's been through some stuff, and she realizes that to get where she wants to go, she has to do a little bit extra. You're not just thrown into it and then you succeed, you have to really work for it, but also as a woman in this business, you know, and that sucks, but like there are things that women are exposed to in this business that should not be happening. Evelyn recognizes that, but also has been dealing with that. I also don't want to say too much, but I feel like maybe I'm gonna watch out with saying too much. To sum it up, I just have a lot of respect for Evelyn Hugo as a character, although I also recognize her flaws because she's very selfish. So I think it's important that when you're reading basically someone's life story that you do get along with them as a character, and I think Evelyn as a character is very interesting. But you're sure some people won't like her, but I think in general she's a likable character because she's so She's very strong. And so it's been very interesting as well to follow her throughout her telling her life story and seeing what's happening behind the scenes, like seeing everything that's not being told, everything that's not being written about in the newspapers and the tabloids and everything. And I'm going off on a bit of a tangent, aren't I? I feel like I am. But it was a very interesting one. I genuinely at times forgot that it was not an actual biography. I don't read biographies. I don't know. They're not for me. Can't really explain why, but they're just not. But I was really into this one, the fictional one. So I can see why this is popular. I can see why this is a well-loved book. I can't really pinpoint anything I would want to be different about this, to be honest. I think as well that it was the perfect length. I don't feel like at any point it needed to be faster or you could have cut something out. Something like her first husband, that doesn't really play a big role in her. He was basically her ticket to Hollywood, but he's not like playing a big role in how she got roles and stuff. So his chapter was very short as an example. None of my books can stand on their own and that's super annoying. I just feel like the pacing throughout the book was nice. The characters were awesome. It keeps you guessing a little bit as well because you're constantly sitting with this like, you're gonna hate me when I'm done telling this story hanging over your head. And it was beautiful. Yes, it was beautiful, but also brutal. Yes. I just realized that I have like, most of these are actually romance books. TikTok, what's going on with that? But the next one we're talking about is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, which is a young adult contemporary mystery in which we follow Pippa, who is a what's it called in English? Or in England. Because she's from England. I don't know, schoolgirl. She goes to school. Pippa goes to school. So 5 years ago, in this town that Pippa lives in, a girl was murdered and the guy who was suspected of doing the murder, committing the murder, ended up killing himself. And Pippa wants to, because for summer, this takes place over the summer, her and her classmates have to write a school project, so Pippa wants the school project to be about this case. And so she decides to start investigating it over the summer because she believes that the guy who was suspected of committing the murder isn't actually the perpetrator, isn't actually the actual murderer. Oh, it's her final year project. Doesn't it happen over summer? I don't know the school system in the UK, by the way, so that's a thing. But anyway, as Pippa is doing the school project and doing research on this case, she also starts to get contacted by someone. I don't know. Someone is being mean to Pippa. Someone's sending her messages. Someone is trying to ruin her research. And yeah, that's all I can say about this one, I think, but it's a trilogy, so, you know, whatever happens in this one, are we gonna solve the entire case? Who knows? I don't know. I thought this was so cool though. I really enjoyed this. I have no justification for why I've not read book 2 and 3 yet because I really loved this. I thought this was so good. Pippa as a character is funny. She's funny and she's smart and she is stubborn and brave but also scared at the same time. She's charming. We love Pippa as a character. Just love her to bits. And I think that's definitely one of the strong points to this book is that Pippa is just so awesome. At least for me it is. I don't read a lot of mystery, so I can't really compare it to anything else that I've read when it comes to the mystery plot in this. But I thought the mystery, as someone who's new to mystery, I thought it was good. I thought it kept me guessing. It wasn't like scary or anything, but I mean there was a point. I'm not gonna say what it was, but I was a bit like, I wouldn't like if that happened to me. I mean, none of what happens to the characters I would enjoy happening to me because we are dealing with a murder mystery, but now that we got that cleared, okay, it wasn't like horror-ish kind of scary, if you get what I mean. Just, you know, as I'm holding this book in my hand, I'm honestly like, I want to pick up number 2. Maybe I'll read it next month. Should I do it? I could do it. But I see why this is popular, because the writing was fun, the characters were fun, Pippa especially is so charming. I love her to bits because she is writing a school project. We have these inserts of like interviews with different characters and different people who were related to the case in some way. I'm gonna try to find one that is not filled with spoilers just so you can have a look, but a lot of the stuff that she updates on is like, we also have texts like this. A lot of the stuff that she updates on is relevant to the case, so it's kind of limited what I can show you. She calls them production logs though, and I loved reading those because I thought it was a great way to kind of sum up everything that she's learned so far. So a production log would look like this, and then she has a transcript of an interview with Elliot Ward underneath. Elliot Ward is one of the characters. And yeah, I really enjoyed this. Why haven't I read book 2 and 3? That's weird. It's very weird. It was nicely built up. Pacing didn't... Maybe it lost itself. I don't feel like it did. It was not something that I thought about, even though it's a bit of a chunky book. Like, it's 430 pages for a YA. That's a bit much. I don't feel like it the pacing was off at any point. It wasn't repetitive or anything, so it was a good time. I really enjoyed it. Why haven't I read book 2 and 3 so I know what the whole mystery is about? Oh gosh. I don't know. Maybe I should look into more YA mysteries. If you have any, let me know. I also own Truly Devious 1, 2, and 3. I read the first one. You see a pattern? I can't help it. Then we're gonna talk about an adult contemporary romance that basically took the internet by storm, myself included, because I am basic in my bookish opinions, and that is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood, an adult contemporary romance where we follow Olive, who is a PhD student, something to do with science. Oh, she's a PhD candidate. Aren't they also students? She's a third year one. She's very focused on her studies. So, Olive has a friend who is kind of into a guy that Olive saw basically twice or something. Olive is not interested in him. She's trying to reassure her friend that she's not interested in him, but her friend is not really fully believing it, also because her friend is like, but you need your happily ever after, and Olive is like, I just want to do my research. I just want to graduate and become a doctor. Thank you. Not a doctor, but like a PhD thing. Yes. So to get her friend off of her back and to reassure her that she's completely fine, Olive actually tells her friend one day that she's on a date, but she's actually at school doing her research. She's at the lab, just doing lab stuff. And then she sees her friend walking down the hallway of the school and panics a little bit because she's supposed to be on a date. So in a moment of bad decisions, she decides to kiss the first guy that she bumps into, and that is Adam, who happens to be her teacher and basically known at the school for being a terrible person. He's grumpy, he's not nice to anyone, he's just through and through people are scared of him, but Olive ends up kissing him, and her friend is like, what's going on here? And Olive is like, well, we're dating. And her friend is like, okay, well, I'm gonna leave now, bye, I'll see you later. But Olive knows that, she can't actually, because it's the teacher. He's the teacher. She can't keep up this facade for long, so she decides to tell him, you know what, it's fine, I'll just tell her that it didn't work out. But Adam's like, you know what, we should fake date. Great idea, Adam. So they start to fake date, and yeah, keep up a facade in front of everyone else. And I don't really know how this works out with a teacher. That would not have happened. I'm pretty sure that would not necessarily be full-on illegal here, but I'm pretty sure that it would be frowned upon a lot. But I mean, it happened in this book. I'm gonna guess it's some kind of alternative universe or whatever. It literally says on the book that it's a TikTok sensation. Can we not put stickers on the books? Thank you. But I realized that this is loved by a lot of people, but it's also not loved by a lot of people. I personally thought this was great. I thought it was a self-aware rom-com that was well written, in my personal humble opinion. I'm also very uneducated, so who knows? Do I even know what I'm talking about? No, not really. But I thought it was funny. I thought it was well written. I thought it was self-aware. It has a lot of tropes, but I think they work in the book. Is it a super original setup? No, not really. The whole plot is not you've probably seen it before elsewhere, but for some reason it just really got me in this one. So I can't really pinpoint what it is. I read it in February as well, so it's a while ago, but I think I just like everyone in this book. I think I just liked everything. It just really vibed with me for some reason, When you can't really explain why, but it just vibes with you. You're just having a very good time with a book. It's making you laugh over and over again. I was lying on the couch laughing out loud while reading this. All the orange bits are probably where she's describing him as tall in some way. Yeah, it is. 10 pages into it, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna tap every time she mentions that Adam is tall or broad or grumpy. I think it's just tall. Adam rolled his eyes and pulled Olive outside. She had to hurry to keep up with him, not because he was walking particularly fast, but because his legs were so long. One of his strides was worth about 3 of hers. You see? Yeah, there's a lot of that in this book, but It's fun. It's a fun book. It's a good time. It's not heartbreaking, but bit of a slow burn rom-com with humor over it, plus women in science, you know? We respect it. And then we have another one, which I know that it's kind of gotten, like, it was very popular when it just came out. It's kind of like declined a little bit in popularity, but The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas, which again is another one that I personally loved and had the time of my life with. Sure, it kind of lost its pacing a little bit in the middle, but it made up for it because slow burn and tension. So I'm laughing right now. I just feel like it made up for it, okay? Is this the most beautifully written book? No, not really. I don't think so. If I read it today, I'd probably notice some flaws in the writing, but when I read it, I had the time of my life. I thought it was great. This is like 500 pages, but I binged this. I ate it up. I thought it was so good. Also, the man is basically perfect in this, which we now have impossible standards, or do we just have justified standards? There's a whole discussion there. Let's not start it. Did I even mention what this book is about? I did not. Okay, let's get to it. So we follow, what's her girl's name? Catalina, who is from Spain, but she has moved to, I believe it's New York, where she's working at like an IT thing. She moved there because something happened back in Spain, and she just kind of, I wouldn't say she full on fled, but she kind of fled. So she's working there, and she's been working there for a while, and one of her colleagues is called Rose. She's her best friend. Another colleague is called Erin, and the two of them don't get along one bit. Like, not at all. It went badly from the start. They don't work. Nah. So, one day Catalina receives a letter or an email. A letter? An invite? How does that work? A wedding invite. Okay, there we go. Probably not by mail. Probably, but I don't know how they do things. Because her sister is getting married in Spain, so Catalina has to go back, but she does not want to go back single because she knows that she's gonna be the single sister and everyone's gonna feel sorry for her. She doesn't want to deal with it. However, she's also very picky with her men, and it's very last minute. She doesn't know what to do. She can't think of anyone who would work out. They're all taken, or they're just a no. But Erin is like, I'll go with you. You don't have a choice. I'll come with you. Okay, great. When are we going? So the two of them end up going. Fake dating as well. See, I have a thing. It's fine. But they're fake dating to keep up facade that the two of them are madly in love, which obviously they aren't, but you know. And I thought it was good. Tension. Guys, tension. There's a lot of tension in this one. A lot of tension. Like a whole lot of tension. And then, you know, it's a slow burn. A bit of a slow burn. And then suddenly it's not a slow burn. I don't know how that works. It's a very long book, so it can kind of be both. There's room for both. So I kind of want to reread it, but at the same time, I'm also scared that as someone who's read a lot more books, or a lot more adult contemporary books since reading this one, it might not compare to a lot of the ones that I've read since. So I'm a little bit scared, but when I loved it, or when I read it first, I loved it to bits. Maybe we should do like reading old favorites. I feel like I'm gonna ruin my old favorites if I did that. Let me know if you want to see that. Should we ruin my experiences with favorite books? Is that something I'm up for? Let me know. So we got 4 more books to talk about. Sorry for talking so long about each one, but I rant a lot, and I also feel like every book deserves its own moment, so I just can't. 2 minutes per book is not enough, okay? But let's talk about one of the fantasy books that I have left, and that is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This is another first in a trilogy. I have not read the other 2, so please don't spoil anything. But in this one, we follow Jude, who is a human that lives in the fairy world. I think they just call it fairy in this book, so that's what I'm gonna call it, if that's not correct. Sorry for misremembering. But she lives in fairy after her big sister's father, biological father, came to pick up her sister, whose name is something with T, I can't remember, and also her big sister, and took them back to fairy. And they've been living there for like 10 years or something. Living as a human in fairy is not easy. You are subjected to a lot of very bad attitudes from people, or from fae, and you're never fully accepted as a part of them, so you're always kind of left on the outside. You're never good enough, or never good enough for them, so Jude is stuck in this whole, like, she keeps getting bullied by this group of fae whose parents are like important, if you will. One of them is Carden, and he's actually the youngest prince of this world of fairy, and he's a douche. I almost said something else. Ooh, that would have been bad on YouTube, but he's a douche. I think douche is okay. I can say douche, right? So Jude, unlike her sister, Targan? Is that her name? Taran. Oh gosh, what? Targan. That sounds like Target. Anyway. Whereas Taryn is like kind of just falling in line and has chosen to ignore them. She's nice to everyone and so on and so on. Jude doesn't want to fall in line. She wants to be respected. So she keeps fighting back, which is basically just making the bullying worse. And so while that is going on, Jude fighting Carden and his posse, she's also being contacted by someone in Fairy who wants inside information on various other Fae people and has to work as a bit of a spy to help him out with that. I thought for sure that this was going to be like a little bit sappy romance going into it, but it's actually a lot of fun. It's a little bit more brutal than I thought it was going to be as well, which positively surprised me because I like brutal. But I don't know why I thought what I thought going into it, that I thought it was going to be sappy, but this is great. I read this in basically like 1 or 2 days. I have a lot of work to do on a daily basis, so like I can't really always just like binge books in one day. I did my best with this one. Like I really did my best with this one. And I just really enjoyed it. No idea why I haven't picked up 2 or 3 for this one either. I don't know what's wrong with me. Let's address that in another video, but this was great. I see why this is popular. It's like upper YA and, in my personal opinion, well written. It's fast paced. It's funny, or funny might not be. There's a little bit of humor in it, but it's not like, it's brutal at times. If you have been bullied, I've been bullied very badly in school. I was a little bit hit at times, if you get what I mean. Like there were certain parts of the book where I kind of had to like stop reading and take a breather and stuff. But if you're in the same boat as me, just be aware of that. But overall, I thought it was really good. I don't know why I haven't read the next one. Like I can't justify it. It's like really good YA, in my opinion. But also slightly problematic because Carden is a douche. Jude though is, I mean, she does some questionable things throughout the book, but she's also just a really strong, opinionated, stubborn, and badass female character, and I do have a soft spot for female characters like that, which I think I'm not alone in. So I can see why this is popular, because it's just really, really good YA. Like, it's just really good YA fantasy, you know? And then we're talking about one that I think I didn't fully love, actually. I'm gonna try my best to remember exactly why that is, but it's Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. So in general, I do like Colleen Hoover's books. I think this is possibly, aside from Slammed, which I don't really want to talk about, this is probably one of my less favorite books of hers. In this, we follow, what's her name? Tate, who has somehow ended up at her brother's apartment. Her brother is a pilot, so he's not home a lot. He works in this he lives in this establishment, this apartment building where a lot of other pilots and like stewardesses and stewards live, or just flight attendants, whatever words you want to use. But she somehow, I don't remember how, ended up at his apartment, and she's supposed to live there for a while. When she shows up with her things, a guy is sleeping outside of his door, a stranger. She doesn't know who he is, but he's passed out outside of the door, and she's like, "Can I get through here? I need to get to my brother's apartment, and you're kind of in the way. Please get up, move, go sleep somewhere else." He's not waking up, so I think she ends up basically taking him into the apartment. I think her brother mentions that he's a friend of his, so like just take care of him for a little bit. He is like drunk, as in like will probably not remember anything the next day and will probably not be able to walk the next day, kind of drunk. Like, he cannot function at all. So she takes care of him a little bit. They have a slight moment, and that is that. The next day he's like, "Did we?" And she's like, "No, we did not." But other than that, he's kind of not really like full on friendly with her. Like, something weird is going on. However, she finds him incredibly attractive. As the two start to talk, he makes it very clear though that he's not interested in anything like dating wise, but he is interested in something without strings. So that's what the two start, and that's basically what it's about, unwrapping why he is the way that he is. And also I think Tate is very focused on, yeah, she's becoming a nurse or something, a doctor or a nurse. I can't really remember fully, but she's very focused on her studies as well. So this like no strings attachment is perfect for her because she doesn't have time. There's some stuff going on. See, I can't fully remember why I didn't like this. I think I've just kind of like, it's disappeared from my head to like make room for other stuff, if you get what I mean. It's often like that with books that I generally don't like. I just tend to forget them. I don't think I dislike this. I just think it's not like, I think I have a very average opinion on it. Like I think it's just kind of, there were points that I liked, there were points that I didn't like. Their chemistry wasn't really fully there, I don't think. The smut was okay because there's smut in it. We are dealing with a no strings attachment. Like a no strings, what's it called? A friends with benefits? Or they're not even friends. Acquaintances with benefits? Yeah, let's go with that. So that kind of situation, so like there is smut in it. I thought it was okay. It wasn't like amazing smut either. It wasn't fun smut either, you know? And there's definitely, as far as I remember at least, there's a question of toxicity in this book because I think the way he treats her at times is definitely questionable. I think that's one of the reasons that I just kind of, it jarred me a bit. So, I don't know. Red flags, you know, just red flags. There's a very sad story in there which you'll know from reading the back because his 2 rules are never ask about the past and don't expect the future. So like there is a sad story in there. But I'm personally not sure that I connected enough with, what's his name? Miles to actually feel the full force of that story once you get to know it. And then just the toxicity. I don't know. There were definitely moments where I was like, oh, you gotta calm down a little bit. Treat each other with respect. You know, like you might not need to be friends, but you can still treat acquaintances or strangers with respect. It's not that difficult. Like you can go through stuff and still be nice. You know? Yes. Okay. That's the lesson of the day. Let's move on to the next book. Should we take the other Colleen Hoover book now that we're at it? It Ends With Us, which is still everywhere to this day. I think this is probably her most popular book. I think I can safely say that. I'm pretty sure it is. This book also wasn't fully for me though. I enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong. I did enjoy this. I thought it was, I don't want to say beautiful because it's not a beautiful story, but I thought it was important somehow to read for me. I'm pretty sure I said that in my wrap-up as well. There were points to this that I didn't love. There was a lot of stuff with the plot that happened that I didn't love, but like it's a plot, so stuff happens to your characters that you're not gonna agree with. That you don't want to happen to them is what I mean. But even though this feels a little bit like a book that's not written for me, which is fine because not every book is written for you, I still really liked it. I like the flow of it, I like the language, but I generally also like Colleen Hoover's writing, so you know. But in this one, we follow Lily, who lives in Boston and has started her own business. She does flower arrangements and she does like very untraditional flower arrangements. It's kind of funny. She has her own little business there, which is quite fun to read about as well. I enjoyed that part of it. But as she is living in Boston, she one day bumps into a guy on a rooftop. I don't remember how either of them ended up there, but there's a connection right away. However, he's very much like, I don't date. Like, I don't do that. I don't do relationships, and it's weird. Lily doesn't understand why, because he's not really giving a proper reason why, but it's just, he doesn't do relationships. But somehow he just has a really soft spot for Lily, and the two of them decide to essentially try to give it a go. But as things are progressing with them, an old childhood friend of Lily's show up. Just randomly one day, she bumps into an old childhood friend. His name is Atlas, I think it is. And he's basically Lily's like first love. And that might be causing some issues for Lily, and Ryle is the other name. Yes, Ryle, who's a neurosurgeon and apparently gorgeous. When people say that this has made them cry, I full on understand it because this is heartbreaking. There's a lot of negative stuff in this, like a lot. I don't want to say what, but I also feel like you should definitely check up on triggers if you have any, because it's pretty heavy, some of it. So there's definitely like, it'll pull at your heart. You know what I mean? Like reading about stuff like this definitely hits you somewhere, and it's hard. It's hard to read about. Yeah. As for characters, I'm not sure that I can say, but Atlas will probably be my favorite character of the 3. I feel like his spot in the story was so important. Obviously, he's just a very likable guy, and Lily is so lucky to have him. I'm looking forward to, kind of looking forward to It Starts With Us. I'm not like in a rush to get it, simply because I didn't fully love this one. I think I ended up giving like a 4.2 or something. But yeah, I'm not sure what I can say about it because it's a very hard-hitting book with some very sensitive subjects that are being touched upon. And I don't want to say exactly what it is because that would be major spoilers because it doesn't happen until like halfway through the book. I'm also not in a position where I can personally judge whether or not it was handled in a proper manner as well. I just want to flat out say that because I've not been subjected to it, so I don't feel like I can personally give my opinion on that. But it was hard to read about. It was. And somehow it still leaves you hoping for something for Lily. It keeps taking away the hope in bits, but it still keeps building it up as well for her. Seeing her journey was definitely... See, I'm trying to not use the word beautiful because it's not a beautiful book. It's really not. If you know what it's about, it's not beautiful. It's ugly. Yeah, it's definitely ugly. These two have something in common, you know? But yeah, I don't really know what to say other than that about It Ends With Us. I feel like I've sat here for like 5 minutes just like, what can I say? I would recommend it, but I would highly recommend as well that you check up on trigger warnings, because yeah, just do it. Yeah, at least if you got any. And then the last book, which I will sing the praises. Is that how you say that? Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo. I thought it was upside down for a second. Six of Crows by Lee Bardugo. I love this book with my whole heart. The crows are my babies. I will protect them with my life, even though they don't need me to, because they're a lot more powerful than I am, but I have no powers whatsoever. I am not powerful at all. In this book, though, we follow... Oh gosh. We follow Kaz Brecke, who is a human living in Ketterdam. Okay, we're really going, okay. He is a bit of a tough nut. I don't know. He's hard to love and he has a hard time loving. I feel like that sums him up pretty well. I want to say he's a businessman, but is he really a businessman? He's a bit of a thief. He likes to punch people and he's maybe overall a little bit dirty, you know? As in, don't get your head out of the gutter. I mean, like, he's a bit of a criminal. That's what I mean. So he has his fellow friend whose name is Ines, who is a bit of an assassin, and the two of them are, or mainly Cass, but they are offered a job. They have to go to a prison that is in Fjerda, which is in the northern part of this world, and free a prisoner for someone who Cass hates. But it's paying a lot of money, so, you know, Cass is like, I like money, I'm gonna do it. So he assembles a team, and they take off to Fjerda to get this prisoner freed from the prison. This prison in Fjerda is like super well protected, super guarded, but if anybody can break into it, which it's said that nobody can, but if anybody can, it's the crows. So that's what this book is about, and I thought it was amazing. I've been wanting to reread it ever since I read it the first time last year. Thought it was so good. Book 2 as well. Book 2 might possibly be better than this one. I think I like book 2 a little bit more than this one. They're both so good. The characters are fleshed out beautifully. They all have their own little thing. They have attitude, they have humor, they have banter, they have relationships, there's romance in this. I love it to bits. I love everything about it. I will protect this and like I will sing its praises for the rest of my life. I love this book so much. It's a heist, it's a thick one as well, but it's fast-paced, it's action-filled, it's brutal. I love it so much. Why have I not reread it? I should do that. And I can see why it's popular. If you have read the Shadow and Bone trilogy and you didn't really love it, don't get scared, because Lee Bardugo definitely... It's like she improved so much between Ruin and Rising? Am I mixing it up with Akotar? Okay. I think she improved her writing so much between Ruin and Rising, and she just nailed something with these characters. Like, she did that, you know? It's so good. I love this so much. Perfect YA, you know, perfect YA fantasy and a heist. It's so cool. But I will also recommend reading the Shadow and Bone trilogy before going into this one, because you get a little bit more explanation on the magic system, which is relevant to this one, and you also get a little bit more explanations on the world, which is also relevant in at least this one. Not so much Crooked Kingdom because it mainly takes place in Catatum, but this one because we do go to Fiesta. So I love this book. With my whole heart, I just love this book. I love the characters so much. Whenever I see anything Six of Crows related, I'm like, yes. Which is actually funny because the first time I watched Shadow and Bone, the series on Netflix, I just wanted to get back to the Alina plot. I did not care about the crows at all. And I was like, why is everyone freaking out about the crows? And then I read Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom, and now I don't care about the Alina plot. Now I just want to know about the crows. So it basically, it did that to me as well, you know? But I've been sat here for too long ranting about books. As per usual, I don't know when to shut up. So those are my opinions on these TikTok books. If you want more videos like this, let me know in the comments. If you agree or disagree with me on any of these books, also let me know in the comments. Again, you can find links to all the books in the description box if you want to know a little bit more about them and read their synopses and everything. You can find them all linked there, but that's all I got for you guys today. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the thumbs up, and if you want to stick around for more videos like this, but also readathons, TBR videos, wrap-ups, bookish unboxings, and you know, all the booktube stuff, definitely consider hitting the subscribe button. But I'm gonna leave you to it. Been talking for way too long already. I apologize, but also I don't know how that works, but don't question it. So I'm gonna go now. I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.
Oh, you know you're beautiful, and it's like